we're going to be seeing more of ByuN next week as well, as he has been invited to the Club NV X Ducklings Showdown. ByuN is going to be facing off against Cure in a best of 7 later on this week. Later on Tuesday, but here we go, spawning in the bottom left-hand corner of Hecate, we have our South Korean Terran player, the Blue Terran, representing Shopify Rebellion. It is ByuN. And spawning in the top right-hand corner, we have his opponent. We have the South Korean Protoss player, the Red Protoss, representing Twisted Minds. It is Classic. We have confirmation Tuesday the 5th of March, which is in a couple of days. We will have a show match featuring ByuN in a TvT, but here we get to showcase him against a Protoss player instead in a TvP. I am here for it. Ooh. Again, Classic, it feels like he's been overshadowed recently. I feel like a big reason for that, one, obviously Classic wasn't able to be a part of IM Katowice, which was a little bit unfortunate. But even more so than that, in recent online events like KSLs, like ESL Open Cup Asia, ESL Open Cup Americas, Classic has been getting knocked out in a bunch of Protoss versus Protoss matchups. Whether it's Nightmare, whether it's Creator, like Classic, he's been denied deeper runs because of the PvP. So I'm happy to see him in something outside of a PvP. Like it's just been, it feels like it's been nothing but PvPs for like the past couple of weeks. So I'm glad that we're able to showcase Classic elsewhere. Going for a Gate Expand. We have seen a Gate Cyber Expand, sorry. Stand Opener. We have seen Classic. He has a very unique setup here in this matchup. More often than not, Classic will throw down his tech at the natural. Doesn't seem like something that too many other pros adopt, but Classic does it more often than not. So I'm curious if that's going to be the case here as well. Now, we have a solid Reaper wall here in the main, just to deter them from getting behind the mineral line. So good Sim City. Meanwhile, back across the map, it was a double gas opener. Something we don't see too often from the Korean Terrans, but this is going to be double gas into an add-on swap into Cyclone production, or Widow Mines. There it is. Cyclones are on the way for ByuN. Oh boy. Meanwhile, Classic going for a Robo opener. That is unique. Okay. So there's a bit of a give and take. There's a bit of a give and take going on. One, ByuN rarely scouts. Kira does this as well, where Kira and ByuN in this matchup, no SCV scout. No SCV scout, and sometimes they even skip their Reapers. As we're seeing here, no Reaper from ByuN. He has no idea what is going on. He's blindly going into his own double gas build, into his double Cyclone. Cyclones have been revealed. More Cyclones on the way. Mass Cyclone here from ByuN as he moves out across the map. Meanwhile, Classic blindly went for a Robo opener. Now, this is typically to rush into Colossus. We get safety Immortals, then into a Bay, then into Colossus production. Like Giga Fast Colossus. This is designed to hard counter something like a 3 racks. It is a very safe way to play. Against Mass Cyclone, though, I'm not so sure. I'm not familiar with this kind of newer dynamic with the newer Cyclone. Stalker goes down. We get one. Ooh, and we get the second Stalker just before the shield battery does finish. Brutal there as ByuN gets into the main base, gets into middle line. Probes are going down. That was so unfortunate. One more second is all we needed. One more second would have been it. Would have kept that Stalker alive, as we will bleed out these Cyclones, but we get 6 probes in the main. That is it. 8 probes. Cyclone does get trapped, but you can see how quickly they kill workers. Not just probes, but drones and SCVs as well. Cyclones, they annihilate workers. It is insane. Shield battery goes down as Cyclones are continuing to be produced. There's that Bay on the way we mentioned. A Robo opener in this matchup usually is for fast Colossus. There it is, the Bay for Colossus production. The problem here is that Classic is stuck. Classic is stuck at home. He cannot move out, not anytime soon. That is the downside of this build, is that unlike Blink or Phoenixes or even Oracles, they don't allow you to be active. So Classic, he's stuck at home. ByuN is free to be as greedy as he wants. He is going for a 2-on-1 setup. Stim is on the way. Big prioritization on Stim, actually. This is a build you don't see too often. Usually the Tech Lab is add-on swapped with the factory and we start tank production. But we don't need tanks. We saw that there wasn't Blink on the way, right? We did see the Robos, so ByuN is going to be abusing this. He's going to be trying to go for a more active style, going into Stim, into a more bio-heavy army, drop play upon us here for ByuN. We'll see what Classic can whip out. As he's just building up and working towards Extendable Lance, working towards Colossus production. Cyclone Jolt moving out, so Viking production. We already have our first Viking out. And yeah, ByuN is looking pretty comfortable. I mean, he saw everything he needed to. And Classic is being defensive at home. He's just stuck at home instead. Stuck turtling up. And we saw how much damage one Cyclone dealt in the mineral line. Show us two. Show us two Cyclones as ByuN does manage to drop in. Probes are going to be going down, and we are so free to continue this drop. Remember, no Blink Stalkers, no Phoenixes, which means there is no secure way to deal with the medevac. We kill 6 probes, and now we drop into the main, and we're going to kill even more workers. Like, we can just have our way with Classic. We got 11, we got 12 probes, 6 in the main, 6 in the natural. The Stalkers, they get a couple of hits in, but again, there's no blink, so they cannot chase this down. And ByuN, he just floats away. He just flies away here. And he can live to fight another day. He's coming back in! Oh my god. Ooh, we thought about it. Thought about doubling back. Stalkers are in position. We can see Classic going towards a Stargate. Going towards Void Rays, Phoenixes, even Sky Toss. But before that happens, ByuN, he finds another way back into the mineral line. He threads the needle right in between the bases, gets one more probe at the natural. And again, he knows that there's just nothing to stop him. Nothing to scare him off. It looks like the medevac is going to escape. Oh my god! Saving one! He killed the Stalkers! No shot. ByuN, he kills a Stalker, does manage to evacuate, saves one of the Cyclones, and now he can come back in again. Looking at the unit loss tab, 24 probes. 24 probes for 3 Cyclones. That is insane. That is an insane amount of damage done. And now here comes the main push. That was the thing. All this damage has been dealt with 2 units. 2 Cyclones. That's it. That is all we had, and now we can focus on the main army, on the main push. Here we go, as we do have how many Marines? 18 Marines, 8 Marauders, 2 tanks. We're heading towards a 3rd base at the same time, dropping in towards the natural. Our goal here to pull Classic apart, and we'll see if we can. Scan reveals a Colossus. There's 3 Colossus. That's a lot of Colossi. 2 of them will stay back. 1 of them does rotate around. Marines, a similar for the focus down the Phoenixes. We have the Nova going up. Not quite connecting. Here comes the main army. The Marauders, they dive on top of the Colossus, overcharge the spot, but it's going to be focused down. And GG gets called. ByuN pulls Classic apart and takes game number 1. GG. That was a brutal game. That was ByuN was in the driver's seat the entire time, and again, a big reason for this, a big reason for the success here that ByuN had was because of the build, specifically of Classic. We spoke about it. This is a big reason why Robo openers are not common. We see them every now and then, but they're not a very common thing because you just relinquish so much map control. Without Blink Stalkers, without Phoenixes, it's so difficult to keep up with drop play. You can defend against main pushes, like because we rush into 3 Colossus so quickly, we can defend against the main push. That is true if we have everything together, but we are so vulnerable to being pulled apart by drop harass, and that is what ByuN is known for. That's what he's best at. That's where he can thrive. And as soon as ByuN saw that Robo, I'm sure he smiled a little bit to himself because he's like, yo, I can have some fun. I can have some fun, Papi. Let's go. So, yeah, ByuN able to really spread his wings and fly there in more ways than one in game number 1, taking a lead in the series. But now we're getting ready for game numero 2. Let's go. Do you ever stream your ladder games? I do. Very rarely. I want to stream more frequently. I want to stream more regularly, but unfortunately, I just don't have a lot of time. Basically, I'm just full-time casting, and when I'm not casting, I'm editing VODs, I'm making thumbnails, I'm scheduling VODs, working on social media. Like, there's it takes a lot of time, and I wish I had a little bit more free time. So I stream every now and then. I try to stream like maybe once a week, if that, on my personal channel. I don't stream on the CranKy Ducklings. This channel is only for casting and sometimes like some like team content. Like sometimes do like 4v4s with the other casters and stuff like that. But whenever I do stream, I stream on my personal channel. But here we go. We're getting into game number 2 and spawning in the top left-hand corner of Oceanborn. We have our blue Terran player representing Shopify Rebellion, leading the series 1-0, looking damn strong in that first game. It is ByuN. Hi, Diamond. Masters 3. Masters 3, borderline Masters 2. I'm 4.4. I've never hit 4.5, but I'm like 4.45 MMR. As spawning in the bottom right hand corner, we have as opponent, we have the South Korean Protoss player. The red Protoss representing Twisted Minds. We have as opponent, we have Classic. Yeah, my goal to one day hit M2. One day, Bobby, one day. We'll get there. Again, my issue has always been like consistency. Like if you're not able to ladder consistently, then it's hard to really like it's hard to do more than just maintain your skill, which is usually what I've been stuck with. Unfortunately, but here we go. We're getting into our second game. Once again, it's going to be a double gas opener here at a ByuN. It is going to be double gas, followed by our factory here. With this opener, it does mean that our natural is going to be delayed. We saw the same opener in game number 1. Did see the same opener. And we'll see if ByuN does mix it up here, as this time he's going for a Reaper. Let's go. Going for the Reaper. Additional Reapers, actually. Ooh, this looks like a Reaper Hellion. As we are getting across the map, this time we'll be scouting our opponents. We do see the Classic did go for a Gate Cyber Expand standard opener, and we're keeping an eye out for our tech of choice. Once again, the Robo. Classic, he really wants to make this work. It's going to be a Robo opener here from Classic. ByuN does get eyes on it. He does confirm. Probe going to be focused down. We're going to get another worker as well. The Adept out of position. Classic does rotate back around. Will force back that Reaper. But again, ByuN, he saw what he needed to. Now he's fully aware of what Classic is up to. And the same things apply from game 1 to game number 2, where Classic, with this opener, he can go into a fast Immortal and into fast Colossus production, and he's going to be amazing against a biocentric composition, but against drop play, you can struggle. You have to be able to have the map awareness and map vision to be able to respond in time and be in position preemptively ahead of time here, which is difficult to do. As ByuN does threaten the natural with his Hellion Reaper. Back at home, getting into his own mine drop. Working towards his own mine drop as well. Not a miscommitted mine drop, it's only going to be a handful of Widow Mines, so this is just designed to really scout. Classic, this time rushing to a very fast Stargate. Okay. I kind of like this. There's a lot going on. So one, we skip the first Immortal, or we delay the first Immortal. We're going into a faster Stargate. This will alleviate some of the issues that Classic had in the last game, where he just had no way to deal with drops. At the same time, Reapers and Hellions are being shut down in the center of the map. They will be forced back. As the drop is on the way. What's important here is that ByuN will scout this. There's the bait. Again, we skip the Immortal. That is a risky thing to do, because we only have 3 Stalkers to defend. Drop making its way towards the main base. We do get eyes on the Stargate.
Additional supply depots.
Fully aware of what's going on. Mines are going to be dropped. Marines as well. Up. Oh, but the mine shot's not ideal when we only get 1 worker. Good cleanup here by Classic. He does force back the drop. But again, now we're aware of the potential of Phoenixes. ByuN, he knows. He knows back at home, Safety Cyclone is on the way, more Marines. Getting additional worker kills. As ByuN is going to retreat, is going to back off. Barely avoids the Phoenix. And interesting, ByuN's reaction to this setup is to go for a third CC, a very fast third CC, by the way. As the medevac is going to be hunted down. Yeah, there's no saving it as it does fall. ByuN moving out just to try to preserve it. And he will pay a price as the tanky gets lifted. We do save it just barely for a little bit longer as it does get focused down. Classic chasing back the army. Really good trades here. Classic, he shut down the medevac, he shut down the tank, shaving off these marines. Really good stuff here from Classic. As he does have map control. At the same time, Widowmine did attempt to waddle in. Oh, there it is. I was like, am I blind? Widowmine going to be chilling here. At the third location. The probes! No! Ooh. 3 probes do go down. That mine drop finally paying for itself. Before going down. And yeah, Classic is going to be free to expand and take his third. He's going to be free to build up his Colossus count. He has now Phoenixes to deal with drop play. And ByuN, upon recognizing that now there are Phoenixes, he's going to ease up a little bit. What I mean by that, we did delay our own medevac production. I mean our reactor medevac production. Our upgrades in favor of a third CC. So much more economic follow-up here from ByuN. Rushing a little bit more into his 3 base economy before getting into his aggression. Yeah, he's working on the Ghost Academy as well, so he's thinking a lot further ahead. Very mid-game oriented from ByuN. Yes, he is moving out with a drop, but he isn't looking to end the game. Looking to harass, looking to poke, looking to prod while he expands. There it is. Third CC being landed on location. Classic working on +1 air attack. Committing quite hard here to Phoenixes. He's only got 2, but he has more on the way. There it is. Fleet Beacon in production. Classic. He does this both against Terran and against Zerg. It's so greedy. It's so greedy, and I don't know if we can get away with it. Second Stargate on the way. Fleet Beacon. We're rushing into Sky Toss. And we need time. Classic, he needs time. He's very vulnerable at the moment. He's cutting Colossus here at 2. Cutting at 2 Colossi. And if ByuN does decide to commit to an attack, then Classic will be in a lot of trouble. We can see here that Classic is basically puffing up his chest. He's forcing back the army. ByuN doesn't exactly see how many Colossi there are. It's only 2. It's only 2 Colossi. Barely any support as well. Classic doing everything he can to just force ByuN to back up. Again, he's only got 2 Phoenixes as well. Despite the Stargate opener, he barely has any anti-air. 4th base is being taken. We're getting into disruptor production as we speak. Carriers are on the way. Again, we just need a little bit more time here to get away with it. What I should emphasize is that 2 carriers is not enough. Like, we typically will need up to 4, 6 carriers ideally to take critical mass. Otherwise, the Marine Army can still deal with it as we are pushing in. This time with a couple of ghosts, we have EMPs. EMPs are available. Speaking of, oof, they do connect. Scan gets eyes on the army. Reveals 2 Colossus and a Disruptor. ByuN knows. As we're going for a drop here towards the right-hand side. Shout out to the Observer as we do get eyes on the drop. Classic fully aware he's getting in position. Oh, moving out already with his carriers. I'm not too sure if I'm fond of this, but he's about to reveal his hand. Like, ByuN hasn't seen, he doesn't know. Looks like the Observer is finally found. Oh god, no! It escapes! There we go. We get the EMP. Observer will go down. ByuN boosting in with this triple drop. Does get eyes on the carriers. And now he realizes what's been going on. Realizes what's been happening. Medevacs are going to be saved. ByuN consolidating his army. Working on +1 ship weapons. 3 more Vaxes. Second starport immediately gets thrown down. We need Vikings. We need Viking production. And it looks like Classic has made it here. It looks like it took a little bit too long. Even if ByuN pushes with this army, I don't know if it's going to be enough. Not against Disruptors. How many Disruptors do we have? 2. 2 Disruptors. 2 Novas going to be available. Here comes ByuN. And how good can these Novas be? As ByuN does not commit. Again, it would be an anti-timing. We're waiting for 2-2. We're waiting for at least 2-2 to kick in. So 2-2 still on the way. Fourth base being taken. Second starport now getting up and running with that reactor. And yeah, Classic, he's been able to get away with it here. He has 4 carriers, soon to be 6. More disruptors on the way. Temple Archives for Storm, for Archons. 4th, soon to be a 5th base. ByuN is going to be the first to max out. We'll see if he's able to collapse on that army. But now, denies the 5th. Good pickup. Good pickup there by ByuN. As the 5th actually does still stand strong. The Ghost. Decent EMP, but we pick up a Ghost. And we save the 5th base. I thought for certain it would be denied. But no, it does stand strong. 3-3 now on the way for ByuN. +1 ship weapons did finish up. Army still impede. We do blanket the entire army. Nova does connect. But carriers are being focused down. Cloak is not good enough. We have the scan. We have the army. We dive on top of the disruptors. They get focused down one after the other. And ByuN, barely cannot break through. We are lacking anti-air. Where are the Marines? Where are the Marines? Where are the Vikings? Only Marauders here. As Classic does hold. Now, Classic, he lost basically his entire ground army. He lost every single disruptor, which is brutal. But did we really lose any carriers? I don't think we did. We lost 1. 1 carrier went down. So we retain our carrier count. It's getting higher and higher. Do we have a second robo? Ooh, we do not. That is dangerous. That is maybe a bit of an oversight here. Classic only has the 1 robo, so a fight like that, where he loses 5 disruptors, it takes so long to rebuild. To the point where we're not making any more disruptors. We're going for High Templar, we're going for Storm. This is risky, by the way, because they are vulnerable to EMPs. That's the plus side of disruptors, is that EMPs do nothing against them. So risky move here at a Classic. I mean, it's a double-edged sword, right? Disruptors, EMPs don't affect them, true, but they also don't shoot up, right? And we do need something for the Vikings. That's where High Templar come in. We need a way to zone those Vikings away to help support the carriers. I guess what I'm getting at, ideally you have both. Ideally you have both as they cover each other, but we only have 1 right now. And here we go. ByuN pushing forward. The Ducklings on top of those Vikings. Big Storm. Oh my god. Massive Storm and a slow zone as well in the army. ByuN is being forced back. Decent EMPs. The mothership getting low. Does get focused down. Another Storm. This time just zones the army away. We still have 1 more Storm in the chamber. I believe 1 more Storm left over. As Classic continues to push in. Shows the EMP. Oh. EMP gets High Templar. That's it. No Storms. No Storm, no Disruptors, no Colossus, no splash damage whatsoever. Just Stalkers and Carriers. Is this going to be enough? As Classic is pushing in, boys are being pulled. EMP did connect with the Carriers. And can we break through? Carriers are now being focused down. We get 1. We get a second. The ground army trying to break in. But we're stepping on forward. We're running out of interceptors. And ByuN, he does it. He breaks the army. Focus down every single carrier. 1 carrier survives. We deny the warp in. And we clean up the entire army of Classic. He plummets in supply. It did cost ByuN some SCVs. He did have to pull the boys. But he takes a massive fight. And what does Classic have left? Stalkers. He has a gateway army. He's making 1 disruptor at a time. We mentioned before that skipping and avoiding the second robo was huge. The fact that he just could not replenish his disruptors. He cannot. Carriers, they take too long to produce here, and Classic is being forced further and further back. Overcharge gets focused down. Boys are being pulled, but against Marines, against Man with Gun, it's not going to be enough. And ByuN, he has done it. GG gets called. ByuN takes the series 2-0. GG. GG, well played. Again, you saw the power of the EMPs in that final fight. We had another Storm available, but some brutal EMPs landed. The High Templar, they had to morph into Archons instead, as they had no energy left. And again, without any splash damage, there was nothing to zone away the Bio or the Vikings, to be fair. Whether it would have been another Storm or another Purification Nova, there was nothing to stop ByuN from just going ham, breaking through. GG. GG, well played. That was still a close fight, though. Like, let's be real. That could have gone either way. If we did have maybe one additional Storm, could that have been enough? Could that have swung things in Classic's favor? Maybe. Maybe. GG, well played. Congratulations to ByuN as he does take the series 2-0, and ByuN advances on to the semi-finals.